Alrighty, so here we go, moving into a Republican culture. So this is going to talk a lot about kind of the social part of life. So, you know, the ESP, this is the S. So let's get started. This one will be real quick, and then you'll just have 3 more. Yay! Alright. Okay. So, clicker there. So Americans really believed that the Republicans should advance capitalism. So this idea that we have this Republican government should add to our ability to create manufacturing, to be able to create our own businesses, that kind of stuff. So they want to be able to finance economic ventures. But to be able to do that, you need banks. Boston and New York founded institutions similar to the Bank of the U.S., like what Hamilton did, which issued notes and commercial loans. 1816, Congress is going to charter the second Bank of the U.S. This joins 246 banks in the nation. This is going to replace the first bank, or the U.S. bank that we initially used. All right. Panic of 1819 is caused by dubious banking policies. So today, this wouldn't really happen because there's a lot of provisions in place to prevent it, and that is largely a result of the Great Depression and FDR and his programs. So you're going to have a couple of panics that will come across, and what happens is people start to freak out about their money, so they go to the bank, they pull their money out, and then next thing you know, the bank has no money, and it can't fulfill all of its debts, basically, to the people who put the money in. Because the way a bank works is you deposit your money, and the bank uses it to grow the bank and to finance other loans and things like that. So if everybody goes and tries to close their accounts at the same time, the bank will fail. All right. You have a 30% drop in agricultural prices. This is going to be a thing that contributes to everybody panicking. Americans are learning the dangers of the up and down capitalist system, or basically the business cycle. And the business cycle kind of goes in an ebbs and a flow. So you get a high, and then you kind of get a downtrend, and you get a low. And then you get an uptrend and a high and a downtrend and a low. There is no set amount of time that it takes to expand this business cycle. It can vary. So the Great Depression in the 30s is going to be a very long low period. But the 20s before it was a long up period. So it kind of ebbs and flows. And that's about the extent of what I can teach you about economics. So look forward to next year when you can take economics. Woo woo! All right. By 1820, we have a lot of small artisans that are selling their products nationwide. You have rural manufacturing networks, which are going to help out in this process. You have a lot of innovations in production and marketing. You have powered mills in New England and the Middle Atlantic states. So there's no electricity yet. There's no way to run the machinery and things with electricity. So early on, they're going to use water power. So today, we would think, well, it's fantastic. We're conserving energy and we're being so natural, yada, yada, yada. But then that's pretty much all they could do. Let's see. They increase their output. Some farmers are going to start to change their focus. New England is going to switch from growing crops for subsistence to raising livestock to sell. This is going to obviously have environmental repercussions, which is you don't get large animals up there. You get chickens and things like that. So foul production induced smells, cutting down of trees, mills are going to inhibit the existence of fish, and wage labor is going to become increasingly important because you're going to have different jobs and all those kinds of things. And so we're going to start to be looking towards our friends, the immigrants, who, like I've told you many times before, we always hate, but we need. All right. States are going to issue charters for turnpike companies with special rights to transportation routes. So turnpike would be kind of like a highway today, but understand it's not paved like we know it. There's no cars, it's wagons and things like that. But it just means that it's a route that's paved and easy to find. Improved transportation is going to help with the distribution of products. The creation of roads is going to boost the economy because it's easier to get places. water becomes the quickest and cheapest way to transport goods. So you can see why the Mississippi River is so important, as is New Orleans. That is one of the big thoroughfares through our country. But the river networks are going to be a big deal. Land near waterways is going to become increasingly expensive. That's still true today, but for very different reasons. Speculators bought up land in cities with waterways. So you're going to get Cincinnati, Louisville, Cincinnati, Louisville, Chattanooga, and St. Louis. So you're going to have a lot of cities just along, I believe it was all, no, so Cincinnati is going to be up in Ohio, so that'll be on a lake, likely with a river coming out. Louisville, that's in Kentucky. St. Louis is on the Mississippi River. I do not think Chattanooga is, but they're all on rivers. All right, let's see. This is a banner for the Society of Pewters of the City of New York, carried in federal procession on July 23rd, 1788, celebrating the ratification of the Constitution. So you can see it's heavy manufacturing. You've got the Society of Pewterers there, making pewter and all that kind of stuff. Pewter, similar to silver, but different. It's heavier. And it's not as shiny as silver is. But that was a lot of what they used for utensils and for teapots and kettles and things like that. It's good to put on a stove and whatnot. All right. Increased production and transportation methods are going to add to the Commonwealth or public utility. So forgive me. I don't know why I can't speak today, but we'll get over it. Hopefully, I'll continue on in a better vein. Transportation charters are going to include the power of eminent domain. So this is going to allow for the forced sale of land along routes. So that doesn't mean anybody can go up and buy this land. So eminent domain is basically the idea that the government can purchase your property at a fair market value for the public good. All right, so you can see this cartoon right here. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of tax revenue. And you've got the bulldozer, the Supreme Court kind of bulldozing things down for the public good. So that's eminent domain. That's actually part of the Fifth Amendment. Some people are going to argue that the statutes like eminent domain give privileges to corporations and they violate the rights of individuals. There are plenty of people who still say that today. There's a lot of talk of doing things like building a rail line down Richmond or building a high-speed train that goes between Dallas and Houston. So people own these properties and they would have to buy out these properties. And so it definitely contributes to why these types of projects take so long. The Supreme Court is going to uphold these statutes as basically good for all. So again, eminent domain is the idea of the government purchasing the land for the public good. And that is how they've been able to build highways and things like that. I don't know if y'all are old enough to be familiar with the expansion of I-10. Probably not. It's probably way before your time. But there used to be all kinds of businesses where I-10 now is, because I-10 was only a couple of lanes across, and when they widened it, they purchased up all that land and likely used the eminent domain clause to be able to do so. So that's going to get us to the end of this section, so I will talk to you when you listen to the next one, or when you come to class, whatever happens first. So hope you have a lovely morning, afternoon, or evening, and I will see or speak to you soon. Bye. Maybe.